What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from Zoom again. And this time we are here with Dan of Kings Never Die. It is great to be able to have you here. Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Totally appreciate being here and thank you for having us.
yeah, anytime, man. Anytime. It's so cool to have you here. The All the Rats LP is absolutely kick ass. And with the singles that we heard so far, such as Stay True or This One's For You, is that maybe like a good representation of like what the entirety of this album is going to sound like, or is that just scratching the surface of what's to come?
You know, I think Stay True is a really good representation of like what the band, like it encapsulates the band. It's what the band sounds like. But there's there's no limitations. Like we just pump out whatever comes out of us, that's what you're hearing. So, when you get to the point where like you're starting to read or I'm seeing like reviews or other people's opinions, it's kind of nice to see that people are kind of like picking a lot of different songs that they think are maybe like their favorites. And of course, we're super grateful that the reaction has been as positive as it is. I mean, it's like it's been awesome. But the record it's a hardcore record. That's all it really is. It's just a hardcore record. We're not like recreating the wheel. And I think it's pretty evident that Kings Never Die does not sound like Old Dog Eat Dog. And it doesn't sound certainly like Mucky Pup. And it doesn't sound like Biohazard, and it doesn't sound like Wisdom in Chains. Like, it doesn't sound like one of those bands of the sum of the parts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're 100% right.
Yeah. Well, that's the goal. It's not the goal. This is just what the five of us have created together.
Yeah.
So, it definitely has like an urban sound. The album we wanted to sound almost a little live. We recorded all the drums, bass, and original guitar track are all there. It was recorded live. There's no click tracks. It's raw. It's what the band sounds like. When you see us live, this is exactly what we sound like.
Mhm. When it came to the formation of Kings Never Die, though, were you all like seeking out each other for this specific project? Even though it doesn't sound like Biohazard or Wisdom in Chains or Dog Eat Dog or Mucky Pup, were you all like was somebody seeking each other, seeking out specific musicians for the formation of this band because it best suited the style, or was it like a very organic, like you all happened to be in the same place at the same time and it was just a spur of the moment idea?
It was a process of friends and mutual friends and friends of friends. It was really uh, almost like a maturing process. The band started with a phone call. Larry the Hunter called me up one day about 4 years ago, and at the time I had just written a couple songs with Eddie Sutton because he wanted to do an EP, the I'm Your Pusher EP. And I wrote I'm Your Pusher. I wrote the music for that, and like, I had the idea for the song. So I was writing with Eddie for the purpose of that little 2-song EP. And me and Larry had been friends. And Larry's like, what have you been up to? Blah, blah, blah. And I said, I've just been writing for the last year or so, couple of years. But what I'm writing is more like, it's nothing like a Leeway sound. It's just like punk rock hardcore songs. So me and him got together at his place in Jersey City one night. And I think by the time we left his apartment, we were like, you know what? Let's just start our own band. You know what I mean? And I never, ever, ever thought that I would ever start a band again. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't my intention, but it was so cool to just work with Larry. I showed him these ideas I had. I was literally just playing in his living room to these little things. And, he was like, hey, I know a bass player. And I was like, well, I could ask John Milnes if he would, just like jam and start us out playing drums. So we recorded the Raise a Glass EP, literally probably 2 or 3 months after we got together in his apartment. And at that time, I said to myself, I had seen Dylan Gaudino front his band Robots and Monsters, because we had played a Dog Eat Dog show in New Jersey, and whenever Dog Eat Dog plays in the States, I still play guitar with Dog Eat Dog in the States. And his band opened that show, and I said to myself at the time, if I ever start another band, I'm gonna hit this guy up. He was just like all energy, just ripping it, leaving every ounce of his soul and energy into every word. And I really love just the sound of his voice. And so as we're like putting this together, I was like, I'm gonna call this guy Dylan up. And we had literally already started recording and then brought Dylan in. And then that's really how the band fabricated. We never really had a permanent drummer. We put the Raise a Glass EP together. Still so thankful to Kim and Mario from Upstate for releasing that first 7-inch, vinyl EP. And unfortunately, we released that EP, I think it was like 5.5 weeks before COVID. We released it February of 2020. And by the end of March, that was it.
Yeah.
And that kind of sucked, because we really were playing everywhere, anywhere. We had plans already we were already in talks and plans to have a tour in Europe that October. Like, it was kind of going fast. And then everything stopped. But what it did do was, we knew that we had to get like a solid band together. And the goal was always to make a full-length album. And that was at the point where I called up Danny Schuler, and I was like, let's just get together and jam. Let me show you some stuff that I've been working on. You know what I mean? And me and Danny, during COVID, we would test, and we would go to the studio down in Old Bridge, New Jersey. And like once or twice a week, we would just jam, and we would just work on ideas. And then it was like, all the ideas that I had for songs for the full-length Kings Never Die album, me and him just took them and stripped them down and started from scratch, like they were new, and we just rewrote, rearranged, changed ideas. That's the awesome thing about when you're in a band and you're writing with multiple partners and everybody has input, is that you have to be open to allowing people, letting everybody have input into an idea or music that you think you have written. And that's really the awesome thing. And that's what I think comes across on the record.
Yeah.
It's really, the album really is, everybody in the band has their hands on every song. And I think it comes across on the record, and we're super proud of the record, man. We couldn't be happier.
It's a fantastic album, and definitely has like a classic hardcore sound that we all know and love from this. It's the sound of New York. That's what I consider. That's my review of Kings Never Die.
Killer,
and I wanted to talk about this because you even said it yourself. This is a hardcore album. Now, this is like my favorite discussion to have. We'll probably run this till the very end, but because I feel like hardcore is just as much of an adjective as it is a noun, and it's just as much of a verb as it is a noun. Like it really is, like, has every aspect behind it. And I've seen plenty of differences between a Sick of It All and an Agnostic Front and a Biohazard and A Life of Agony and A Wisdom in Chains. So like what
Yeah.
really is an element of hardcore? What would you say makes something a hardcore band in a way?
I think it starts like right here. And I think the beautiful thing about hardcore is there is no musical, you don't have to be in this cookie cutter. Real hardcore, like hardcore is more of what's in your heart and being true and being honest, right? You just mentioned it. Listen to Terror, listen to Sick of It All, listen to different Sick of It All albums or different Agnostic Front albums. Listen to Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law is as hardcore as it gets. It's the funner, smash a beer can on your head side of it. Wisdom in Chains is really well thought out, beautifully crafted songs with melody. And, you know, there is no box. There is no box. But I think people see bullshit. Like people know when they hear something that this is real and they mean what they're saying in the song, or these guys are just fraud. You know what I mean? And I think that that's ultimately what it is. Like the hardcore community is supposed to be about being yourself and being able to be yourself and express yourself the way you want to express yourself and being accepted. So if that's the case, then I think this hardcore record, I think that this is kind of like proof of that. You know what I mean? Look, you mentioned it. Uh, my my five favorite bands right now that I love and I've always listened to. Sick of It All is my favorite band. It's always been my favorite band. Since I heard Just Look Around in 1992, every single record consistently is my favorite band. Kings Never Die could never sound like Sick of It All. Like we could never have that. It's just raw power. You know what I mean? It's just, I feel like lighting the room on fire every time I hear it. And they have songs like Bull's Anthem, and they have songs like, Get Bronx, and they have songs like Clobbering Time, and they all sound different, but it's the same band. And when you hear Sick of It All, you know it's Sick of It All. And that is something, that is the part that I really aspire to be, is to start to get in the groove where that sounds like Kings Never Die. Like that would be the ultimate compliment. And that's something that as I'm looking and I'm reading, that's the thing I'm most appreciative of, is that people are like, hey man, this band kind of sounds like its own. It doesn't sound like any of your other bands. You can hear the influence, but you got to understand it's five different people now. All of us really respect and love each other. I love playing with these guys. And I think that shows in the music and the final product that we put forward. And I hope that every other guy in the band would say exactly the same thing.
Oh, 100%.
It really is an honor. It's an honor to get to play with Evan, with Larry, with Dylan, and with Danny. It's like an honor. And I've been friends with Danny for 30 years. And I borderline begged him to just come down and jam. You know what I mean?
Well, I was gonna say like this. It through and through, you succeeded all your goals with it, because when you open up with Stay True and you end with Side by Side, it's it's hardcore through and through, and it's pure as it gets in a way. But like I was born in 1993. So my idea of hardcore really started from listening to Hatebreed, and now a lot of younger fans will probably listen to a band like Code Orange or Turnstile, and that is their idea of hardcore in a way. But it seems like regardless of
and that's another great example. Like is Turnstile a hardcore band? Well, they've been a hardcore band. Like they're a hardcore band. It's you can express yourself musically any way you want. Being a hardcore band is not about the exact sound. It's about, do you love to do this? Is this in your heart? Are you expressing yourself And is it real? Are these words true? Do you believe in the message that you're trying to and you're saying in your songs, in your music? And I can tell you that every single word on our record is truthful because they're stories or they're the way we feel individually or as a group. And that's the thing. I think that the music just comes out of your soul, but lyrically we really accomplished what we set out to do. And I have to give credit to Danny, because Danny was the guy right from jump that was like, slow down. The vocals and the ideas for the chorus or they're catchy or they're memorable, but what are you saying when you're saying, what are you saying there? You know what I mean? He's like, what are you saying in this one's for you? Like, what does that mean? And we went through every single song, every word, and made sure that every word had power and meant something to us. And that Dylan was comfortable saying it, or I was comfortable saying it, or we were comfortable saying it as a group.
Yep.
And that was the greatest songwriting lesson I learned, was really in the process of making this record. And it's something that will definitely stick with us and with me, as long as I live, like, for sure.
Definitely, and it's going to stick with us here in New York. And that led me to the final portion of this interview, and that is, what can we be expecting from Kings Never Die in the near future in terms of shows or maybe even more new music in the future? Because if there's one thing that All the Rats did, it's made me want a shit ton of a lot more. So,
yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. The goal right now, the record comes out in 2 weeks. Obviously, we made the 2 videos, which everything is super easy right now. Obviously, we want people to pre-order the album. I mean, everybody wants people to pre-order it. The album is available everywhere and anywhere. You could just Google Kings Never Die, All the Rats, and buy it like that. But everything is made easy. If everybody just goes to Kings Never Die Official, you could see the 2 new videos. You could pre-order the album anywhere in the world. If you live in Canada, if you live in Japan, Europe, in the United States, there are links directly to purchase the record on our website. And that's stupid simple. It's kingsneverdieofficial.com. As far as shows, the record comes out May 26th, and we're doing a record release show, a dual record release show with Mafa.
Oh, hell yeah.
With Flora and Mafa. We just announced it. We're doing it at the Meadows in Brooklyn on June 3rd. So, I mean, I would really, we'd be eternally grateful if people would come out to that. We're also at that show, we'll have 50 vinyl copies of the album for sale at that show. We'll also have the digipacks and whatever, new merch and whatever. But that show is really important to us, because that's like, we've never done like a record release show, and it's a little nerve-wracking to do, you know what I mean? But we're just gonna jump in. After that, we're playing June 24th at the Beer Axe in East Haven, Connecticut, on June 24th. And then July 5th, we're playing in New York City at St. Vitus. We're playing Paris's first show with Agros.
Agros. I was just interviewing him
is
about
at
that.
St. Vitus in New York City. And we're gonna and we're gonna open for Agros at that show. That's July 5th. And then we're going to kind of hit the road. Like July 14th, we're in Cleveland. We're playing 2 shows with In Cold Blood and Illmatic. That's Cleveland and Detroit. Then we're going to Buffalo. We're playing with World on Fire in Buffalo, like a small hardcore show. Then we're going to play Washington, D.C. in July. We're playing the Chance Theater. That's going to be Dog Eat Dog and Kings Never Die and Faded Line, good friends of ours, Jeff Mann, and Faded Line and Sick Bay. That's at the Chance Theater, July 29th. And then July 30th, we're going to go back to New York City. Like, really, our home away from home is on the Lower East Side in the Bowery. So we're going to play July 30th back in the Bowery. And the Bowery, the last show we played was in the Bowery, and that's where we recorded the video. We filmed the video for Make Them Anymore. That entire video is from the show at the Bowery that we did back in February.
Oh hell yeah! Well, we got a lot.
So that's kind of like what's up. And then right now we're just trying to finalize plans. We have a tour in Europe, the end of October into the beginning of November that we're just praying and that we can finalize. And you know, the big thing is, like with every band, the easy way is just, if you want to get in touch with us, if you're a promoter, if you book shows, we do everything right now is DIY. Every show we book is DIY. Every video we made up until these last two has been totally filmed on my iPhone, and we do it DIY. So the next thing is, we really need to get, hopefully, the proper booking agent, because we love to travel, we love to tour, and we love to play live. And that's really, I think, where people can really capture like what the band is about.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean? So, yeah. So the easy way to do that is just Instagram. If you want to contact the band, you just go to Instagram and shoot me a DM. Or if you want to follow the band, just Instagram. And that's Kings Never Die Official as well, but with underscores in between Kings _ Never _ Die _ Official.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We're very excited to see more. Everybody, we are here with Dan of Kings Never Die. Be sure to pick up all the rats. This is Alex from Heavy New York, and we will see you next time.